Welcome back. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I'm going to do something a little different today because I got something a little different. And we're going to go over that, and that's this little Grundig radio here. So let me turn my little gimmick off here so I don't hit my finger with the fan. And then we'll move the camera in a little closer and a little down. See if I can get some more light on here. It's a little... The face of the radio is not showing up that well. My camera's always a little persnickety. That's, I think part of the problem is this white background is making the camera close the lens down. Digitally, it's not that good a camera that actually has an aperture. Okay, let's zoom in. Maybe that'll help. Get rid of some of that white. Good, I'm talking right on top of the camera. That's probably a mistake, so probably over-modulating speaker. Okay, that's about the best I can do. Let me see if I turn one of these lights off. That would help. Get rid of some of that glare off the white. Yeah, I think I'm better with that light off. I'm probably better with all the lights off and working in the dark, which is what I usually do. Anyway, well, what I do is I look for radios that I think are going to be good radios. So I do research and see, what other people have said about a radio and look at their videos and stuff like that before I go and purchase a radio. That's one category. And so those radios will typically, if I did my homework, will get a good score on my report card. That's why you see so many of my radio reviews. I give it a good score because I did my homework and didn't purchase a radio that I didn't think would do very good. And then another category is radios that I already had that aren't necessarily great radios, but I just had them, so I did a review of them, or at least a demo of them. The third category is radios that are given to me, either locally, they're given to me, or one of my subscribers has given to me, or given me a credit on Amazon to purchase it and do a review. Well, this radio is in the category of, it was sent to me by one of my subscribers, and it's an older radio. Matter of fact, it's quite old. It's an analog radio for one, and so I don't think it would be fair to do a scorecard on this radio because I already know that it's not going to score very high for a couple reasons, and I'll tell you what those reasons are. But anyway, I appreciate you sending me radios to review, especially this one. And what's good about this one, it's very unique. And those kind of radios I like too. I like unique radios. I have a lot of radios in my collection, and the reason they're in my collection is because they're unique, not because they're a great radio. No, it's not 65 degrees out. That's just the temperature of the air coming out of my air conditioner. So the air conditioner apparently is turned on. So anyway, so much for the weather report. Getting back to this radio. So this is a Grundig YB 235, and the YB stands for Yacht Boy. Grundig made a whole series of radios that they called Yacht Boys. And they started, I believe, maybe it wasn't the first one to hit the market, but the lowest number is the Yacht Boy 100. And then there's a 200 series, and there's several of those, and there's 300 and 400, and I don't think there's any above that are called Yacht Boys. So this is a whole series. And in the 200 series, they made a couple of different ones, and this is the 235, and each one of them was slightly different. This radio I have really not run across it before. I tried to do some research on it today for my show. I couldn't probably find any information about it. I couldn't. Now, the gentleman that sent this to me did not have the manual, so I don't have a manual. I could not find a manual on the internet. Usually, I'm pretty successful at doing that. I couldn't find a manual, so we're kind of running in the blind here with this radio. I did find a review of a similar model. I think it was possibly the Yacht Boy 230. It was slightly different. I believe on that one, these controls up here were up under a little door on the top, so it was slightly different. So we're going to give a look at this radio and see what you think about it. Like I say, it's very unique. Okay, number one, it's an analog tuner. So you got this, and my lighting is not that good. You got this slider that goes up and down. So it's analog tuning. That's number one. And let me give you a little background about these type of tuners. They're not too bad if you have strong stations, a lot of strong stations. So back when this radio came out, there was a lot of shortwave stations, and they were very strong. And so tuning them in was not such a problem. Nowadays, trying to find shortwave stations is a little harder. It's not impossible, it's just a little harder. And so you can't go on the internet and look up at some of these listings of shortwave and see the frequencies and dial it in like you can on a digital radio. So you just have to kind of, you look at here, and if it's like 7.25, you got, it says 7.2 and you got 7.3. So you got to just kind of jog around trying to find it. So it's not very precise. It doesn't mean the reception is any worse than a radio of the same class that's digital. Doesn't mean that. Matter of fact, I think I don't have a Yacht Boy 400, which is one of the newer ones. I may have a Radio Shack version of that, so that I could do kind of a reception test of the analog versus the digital radio. Completely different time frame that the designs were, that they came up with the designs. So anyway, let's just go over the radio real quick as far as buttons and stuff like that. Look and feel, it's a pretty solid radio, and the plastic feels pretty good. Seams are good. The writing is excellent. It's white on black in most cases, so it's easy to read. I don't particularly like these tiny little buttons. My big finger struggles with those little buttons, but they're buttons that you wouldn't use that much. They're mainly for setting the clock and the alarms and stuff like that. So it's kind of a one-time deal. You'd set them up, and so it's not a big deal. It also has a sleep timer function, so that's nice. There is a big red button here, and it's marked recall. I haven't figured out what that is yet. Anybody has one of these radios or a similar radio and has the recall button, could tell me what that is? I'm not sure. It does have under it SNZ, which I assume is snooze and stop. So I'm thinking it has something to do with the alarm function. Okay. On this side, we have tuning knob right here. This is a tuning knob, and a volume slider. So that's the volume control. On the other side, we have input for a DC adapter and headphones. On the back, it does have, which I like in radios, it does have a stand. I like that in a radio. So it does have that. Of course, it's got the telescopic antenna, and on the top is this light switch, which is for off, on, and alarm. So you select what function you want it to be. It has a light button right here, and it has a reset button right here. So it's using a microcontroller So if it gets locked up, you can reset it. Below that is a tuning light, little red light that when you're tuning, it tries to tell you that you're on station. Seems to work okay. And then, of course, like I said, below that is the light button. Down here we have the shortwave band selection slider right here, and it has 12 bands. So there's 12 shortwave bands. It's broken up 12 bands, so it's not continuous tuning. Not a big deal. So, matter of fact, some of your newer, cheaper digital radios that are, have multiple bands, that they're broken down the same way. You've got to select a band. They have, some of them have 8, some have 10, some have 11. So this is not unique to this. And then over here we have the band select: shortwave, long wave, medium wave, and FM. Okay, so that's all. I think I covered all the switches and dials. And I don't know, it doesn't say on the back, but if I read the dial here, it goes, shortwave wise, it goes from 3.2 megahertz to 21.9 megahertz. So I think that covers all of the international bands. And then we have, on the sides, we have the long wave band here and here. I'm not sure why there are two. Like this goes from 145 to 285, and this goes from 230 to 250. And maybe they line up. Yeah, I guess they line up. So this is, part of it's shown here for the long wave and part of it's shown here for the long wave. And then it has the FM band and the AM band right here, scale right there. So that's about it. That's why I say there's not a whole lot to go over. It doesn't have any what I call special features that I know of. Again, I don't have the manual, so that's why I'm not really inclined to do a scorecard, because I don't know everything about this radio, and I've not found much information about this radio. So if you got one of these, or maybe the 230 or 200, maybe you can bring me up to speed on this thing. I thought one thing was broken, and let me turn it on. Turn the volume down, because right now, for the past 3 weeks, we've had storms and rains and storms and rain. Usually last all day long. Yeah, I mean, we've got, of course, flooding. It's a mess. So trying to listen to shortwave has not been very productive. I had one day or one night where things cleared up and band was terrific, and I did comparison testing of 2 radios, but that's not been the case most of the time. So the radio's on. So, we don't have any digital readout. We have to look down here at the analog scale to see where we are. Now, this is what surprised me, and I thought it was broken, is when you push the light, push the light button, only this little section here, which has the clock, is lit up. And I thought, well, are all the rest of the display backlight broken? Well, I did see one video of I think it was a 230, Yacht Boy 230, and actually it was not a video, it was a picture. And it did have this illuminated, just this illuminated like this radio does. So that's the way it works. So the rest of it, which is a map of the world, and I don't know what to do there. It probably has something to do with the clocks or the timers or something. But right now it's showing like 3 cities. It's very small print, and 2 are in Europe and 1's in Africa. And I did see one picture where it had a whole bunch of cities lit up. This only has those three. So I don't know what that's about. Again, if you could help me out there, I'd appreciate it. The sound quality is pretty good. You know, it's fair considering the size of this speaker. Fair. There's plenty of volume, so there's no problem there. I have not, like I say, I haven't had a chance to really tune the shortwave band that much. When I first got it, I just turned it on, extended the antenna here in my office, and I was getting quite a few shortwave stations. And then I just put it aside and had other things to do, so that's all I did. Since then, I've really not been able to pick up much, except for a couple local, when I say local, within 300 miles, Spanish-speaking stations. That's all I've been able to pick up. It's only international bands, so you can't pick up WWV, for instance, at 10 megahertz or 15 megahertz or 5 megahertz. You can't pick that up. So it's only the international bands. Now, maybe if you go right to the top, like it goes up to, on this band, it goes up to 9.9. Possibly, if I go all the way to the top, I can pick up 10 megahertz. Possible. I haven't so far. So anyway, that's the quick kind of overview of the Grundig YB 235, and I really appreciate the gentleman sending me this. Ooh, I just saw that the tuning light came on when I was rotating it. I guess it got strong enough signal. I'll play with it for a second here. Like I say, right now it's totally overcast. 15 minutes ago we had lightning, so I don't expect to get anything. So this is a shortwave band, and I'm on, I'm way down the bottom. I'm not going to get anything way down there this time of day. My only chances is to get something above, say, 9 megahertz. So I've got to select, that would be band, oh boy, the line things up here, 7. Okay, so I got to slide over to 7. Sorry, I'm doing this offline. Okay, so I've moved the slider to band 7, which is band 7 right here, which starts at 9.5 to 9.9 megahertz. So let's just turn it up. I found that my monitor is the biggest contributor of RF noise, so I turned that off. Yeah, nothing. See, I turn my monitor back on. Turn it back off. There. That's the guy that's causing all my problems. So I'm not getting anything, but that doesn't surprise me because the bands have really been dead. Even using an external antenna, I still haven't been picking up much this week. So that's not surprising. So that's no indication of the reception capability of this radio. So let me turn my monitor back on so I can see where the camera is pointing. Oops. Up if I leave it left it up. There we go. Okay. Oh, no wonder. Okay. There we go. So, you know, it's not a bad radio. Like I say, the other day when conditions were a lot better, I was getting a lot of stations. So, the only thing you have to deal with is the fact that it's an analog tuner, and the little tuning knob makes it a little difficult to fine tune it. And of course, it can't do single sideband. So anyway, that's the show for today. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for the person that sent me this radio for a review. Bye-bye.